Hello and welcome to this exciting day. We are here for Together We Are the Solution, this sunny Earth Day here in Stockholm. I want to welcome you all here. I want to welcome my live audience, and I want to reassure you if it's packed in the room right now, there's also space on the outside so you can view it from out in the foyer as well. My name is Frida Berg Eklund. I am the spokesperson for the Swedish climate parent group, Föräldravrålet, and also Our Kids Climate, which is an international parent movement growing. In my day job, I also work for PR agency Vestander in the climate and energy unit. Here at Moon Stage today, we have 26 amazing campaigns that we're going to hear from. We're going to launch them here today. You'll be the first ones to hear about these campaigns. And these campaigns are about challenging politicians, companies, and organizations to do more and do better on climate change. We are going to hear from students who will talk about climate love and about how vegetarian food should be the default option. We are going to hear about coal campaigns in Nigeria, and we're going to hear about exciting air travel. To fully participate today, please make sure you have downloaded the app on your phones. You should also have received an email that has the links to all these campaigns, and make sure that you go in and agree that you like all these campaigns today. So please make sure you have those on your phone downloaded before we start. Now I want to welcome the person behind it all, the CEO and the founder of We Don't Have Time, Ingmar Rentzhog. A big hand.
Thank you, Frida.
Ingmar, why are we here today?
We are here because we have a climate crisis that needs to be solved. And the only way to do it is to do it together. And the other reason we're here is that we're launching the world's first social media platform for climate action, where we actually could get together and act together and put pressure on our leaders to do what they must do in the short time period we actually have.
So what is this app about?
This app is about, again, it's easier if I show you. If you have an idea how a big corporation could go fossil-free in, say, just 1 year. This idea could seem a little crazy, but let us say that it's totally realistic. How do you do to make that company listen to that idea? That's how our platform could help. And I'm going to show you this. This is our symbol for an ID. And when I get an ID that I would like to send to an organization how they could do something differently, I could put that ID behind the ID climate campaign. And I could send this ID to that company. But if I do that, they will only think I'm a crazy guy that is mailing them a lot of bullshit. So they will not listen. But here's the thing. If I do that together with all of you here today that agrees that this idea is actually a great idea, they certainly will listen. And they will read that idea, and if it's realistic, they could communicate with us, and they could also implement that idea. We need a lot of ideas to go fossil-free. But it's not all about ideas. It's also about something that is called climate warning. I'm sorry to say, but we need to send this to a lot of leaders out there because they use a lot of fossil fuel. And we need that to stop. We need that to change. And if they don't listen, we're going to send this back to them. And they will not care if I do that. But if we do it together, and many people that is here today and that is watching online and everywhere put their names behind that, they will feel the pressure and they need to do something because it will not be nice. They could be put out of business. They could lose voters if they don't comply. But when they comply, when they change, we could give them this. And this is much more nicer. This is the climate love. And we can't forget to also give attention to all those organizations and leaders that is doing great stuff. Because we're not going to solve the climate crisis if we only complain about what's wrong. We need to show climate love for climate action. And Frida, if I give you this, how does it feel?
Feels bloody good.
Now pretend that you have 10,000 climate love. How does that feel?
Even better.
Yeah, and everyone will be envious and want to do the same. Be the climate action hero, so you can receive the love. So this is how it's going to work. And you can download the app and use it today. If you press on the hot flick here, you will see the trending campaigns on our platform. And it's everything from climate love IDs and climate warnings, etc. And it's just one button push to agree on this. So it's super easy if you press on the right space. So it's really easy to do this. And you can also, this is important because we don't have the user base yet. It's really easy to share this campaign to everywhere on the internet and other social media platforms as well.
Thank you. Big hand. Thank you very much. We are going to start things off immediately with our first campaign that's going to be launched here today, and that's Ben Clifford, and his campaign is called Climate Love for Google's 100% renewable cloud. Ben is the founder and managing director of Adquio Studios, and he has 5 minutes to talk about his idea. Welcome, Ben.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everyone. So I'm Ben Clifford. I run a eco-friendly web hosting. Yeah, is my mic on? Yeah. I'll try to speak up, but hopefully my mic's on. So I run an eco-friendly web hosting and development company. No? Okay.
It's for the broadcast, so we cannot mix live or sound inside and...
Okay, I'll keep going. Live TV. So I'm here to talk about the environmental impact of the internet and why I think Google should be getting our climate love. So lots of people will very rightly say, what's the internet got to do with the environment? What's that all about? So I'm going to help you kind of discover that in the next few minutes. But first of all, I just wanted to give you a tiny bit of kind of an insight into my journey here to join you all today. Obviously, the climate is really important. The conference very rightly has a no-fly policy. So I'm based in London. I came here over the space of a couple of days by train and by bus. So one of the things that really kind of stood out and was really heartening was that as I traveled through Europe, I saw loads and loads of wind turbines and I saw solar farms. So it's really encouraging, I think, that we're kind of making, really visible progress. I took a few snaps, managed to take a few snaps through the window that I thought I could share with you as I kind of traveled through Germany and through Denmark and into Sweden. So it made me feel good. I think we're going in the right direction to move to a fossil-free future. There was one bit as well, which is I got on a train and then the train got on a ferry, and I didn't even realize that was a thing. So I wanted to take a picture of the train on the ferry. Kind of blew my mind a bit. So just coming back to what I do and how the internet relates to the environment, people often say, what has building websites got to do with tackling the climate crisis? Really good question, and it really boils down to the use of fossil fuels in the internet's kind of infrastructure that most people don't know about. If you've ever had a website, then you probably know that you need to choose a hosting account. So these are some of the kind of big names in hosting. Most people choose a hosting provider based on kind of the price, obviously, and the features and reviews. But actually, when you're choosing a hosting provider, you're actually making an energy choice. Lots of them still use fossil fuels, others use renewables. So at my company at Urgio, we put a lot of kind of attention on helping to spread awareness that there's actually an energy choice that you can make when you use the internet and choose a hosting provider. It's actually not just website owners, though, that this applies to. So when you kind of use any cloud drives that obviously lots of people do these days, if you save a document or an image or a music file, maybe an email, into a cloud drive, that's actually an energy choice that you're making depending on which type of cloud drive you choose. It applies also to kind of streaming services. So if you're using SoundCloud and Netflix and Spotify, there's actually an energy choice kind of going on in the background that most people just don't really know about. Greenpeace produced this really excellent report called Click Clean. This last one that I've taken the screenshot of is a couple of years old, but they've got a new one for 2019 that's coming along very shortly. So do take a look at that. It's really super interesting to see which of these cloud service providers are eco-friendly and which maybe are slightly behind the curve. So when you think about the cloud, obviously it feels very virtual and very kind of dreamy and light and things. You don't tend to kind of associate that with the environment. The cloud is something that basically feels very virtual. What I wanted to take you through is just very briefly how that works. When you use the internet, it's kind of powered by a vast global infrastructure of physical buildings, basically. When you use a website or when you use some software, data gets transferred between the device that you're holding in your hand and then a server somewhere else. Might be in a different city, might be in a different country, but there's data being transferred across those, and that's where a lot of kind of energy consumption comes in these buildings called data centers. So this is kind of from above kind of bird's eye view of a typical data center. I've tried to kind of give you a sense of scale there. There's a car park with sort of 30 cars circled if you look down at the bottom. So they're really kind of giant buildings. And inside of those, there are stacks full of computer servers like this one. And those use loads and loads of electricity to keep them constantly online and also cooled, because they pump out lots of heat and there needs to be loads and loads of air conditioning that stops them from overheating. So if you think about the fact that there are thousands of these servers inside a data center, and then there are thousands of data centers all over the world, it really stacks up to a lot of electricity use. That's kind of all well and good, and the internet is a good thing, but the problem is that most of these data centers still use fossil fuels, and the vast majority of them still do. So that's kind of bad news, and there's a lot of room to improve. But the focus of my campaign is Google. They moved to 100% renewables at the beginning of 2017. So even though they're a massive global company, surprisingly, big business is actually kind of leading the charge on that. Not all big businesses. I won't kind of name and shame too much, but Google's really leading the charge on it. They're not just a search engine, obviously. They also provide, their email hosting, their Gmail hosting, Google Drive for kind of consumer stuff, and then Google Cloud for enterprise level bits and pieces. But all of that is powered by loads and loads of electricity. And in Google's case, they're already using renewables. So I'd like you to kind of support my campaign to give Google our climate love, because they're setting a great example, and there's lots of other big businesses that should follow their example. And I'd like you to get behind that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
That's it. Okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So again, make sure that you have the app on your phone. Go into this campaign and give it some climate love. Click the I agree with this campaign to support it. Now, if you can't hear at the back, you can watch online. You can also watch outside in the foyer. We know it's really packed room. So if you can't hear a little bit, it's because we have a live broadcast going on. Now, the next campaign is Per Ribbing, and his campaign is called It's Time for a Fossil-Free Nordic Eco-Label. Per is a PhD student studying climate change leadership and renewable power generation, and he has 5 minutes to pitch his campaign. Welcome, Per.
Thank you. Can you hold it up? I am the father of Ebba, Gustav, Safi, and Elise. I want to give them a world in peace, but that won't be until it's fossil-free. And that, dear friends, is the task for you and me. Nej, går vi upp. Ebba is my first, Gustav is my second. Safi is an Afghan refugee. His father was on a Taliban death list. His family fled to Iran when he was only 3. Now he's safe in Sweden, living here with me. Elise is my youngest, the apple of my eye. I'm fighting for their future so that the hope in them won't die. But now I need your help. I've been fighting way too long, fighting on my own. Together we can change. Together we can change. Together we can change an understanding. Change an understanding of what electric power is, and change a misconception that goes something like this. All power mixes on the grid. No, it doesn't. It's a misunderstanding. And together we can change that misunderstanding. So say that we are in front of a bankomat, me and Frida. Frida goes before me. You know that the top banknote inside the bankomat will be Frida's money. But the same banknote will be my money if I go before you. Now, this is an abstraction. It's a normal, everyday abstraction. We have learned to accept it as a fact that the same banknote can be Frida's money or my money. Just make a parallel with the electric grid. You're in your kitchen, just about to turn your kettle on, electric kettle on, and I'm in my kitchen, trying to turn my electric kettle on. And between us, there is the electric grid. And if you turn on your kettle exactly at 1500 hours, you get your electricity, right? You can't take my electricity. But if you just waited half a second, and I would have put on my kettle at exactly 1500 hours, I would have gotten that same kilowatt that you got. And then suddenly it's my electricity, it's my power. And this parallel is exact. So we have the definite possibility of quitting coal. We can actually choose not to have coal power at home in our sockets. Now, I'm very sad to say that the Nordic Eco-label, they allow their licensees to buy ugly power. And ugly power does not mix with green power. So we can help Nordic Eco-label to tell their licensees to demand in their criteria that their licensees buy only green power. So it's time for the Nordic Eco-label to quit coal, right? You don't want an Eco-label that allows their licensees to buy coal power. You don't want that. So use your app. You have the app. We Don't Have Time app. Search for the Nordic Eco-label, and it's time to quit coal for the Nordic Eco-label, right? Thanks for your help.
Thank you, Per. And because this is a no-fly conference and a no-fly launch, the next person we're going to hear from is going to come to us via Zoom link, we hope. Her name is Sara Rebecca Ivarsson, and she's going to talk about how we need to stop the expansion of the Preem refinery here in Sweden. Sara is a PhD student in journalism, media, and communications, and she's going to be speaking to us for about 3 minutes.
minuter före schemat. Det är lugnt.
Frida, om du ställer upp och berättar vad vi gör nu, att vi kämpar med att få ljud på zoomen.
We are struggling with a little bit with technology, so we're about to wait to get some sound in our broadcast. Our technicians are working hard. In the meantime, download your app, go in and support the campaigns. The top ones. It's the top one at the moment. You'll hear about that a little bit later. And we are going to restart Sarah in just a minute. Is anywhere, he can come back around and backstage, and you'll just go backstage and get prepared.
Okej, nu developer in Sweden. I'm here today to present a campaign to stop the expansion of Preem refinery in Lysekil, Sweden. The aim with this campaign is to send a warning to Swedish Land and Environment Court, Mark och miljööverdomstolen, who has the power to stop the expansion. Stopping it seems rather easy. They just have to choose to follow the already existing climate law and Paris Agreement. A brief history. A couple of months ago, Swedish Land and Environment Court authorized Preem to expand their refinery, thereby doubling the plant's already heavy CO2 emissions. This decision was taken after Sweden signed the Paris Agreement, after Sweden instituted a new climate law, and just a few weeks after IPCC report was released. In short, Swedish authorities know that we must heavily reduce our CO2 emissions and phase out our dependence on fossil fuels in order to limit the impact of climate change. So how on earth could Preem get a permission from Swedish authorities in the light of all this? One has to ask, are the laws that toothless, or are we not following the laws? The resistance against the expansion is massive, and we are many that are engaged in the fight. 5,000 people have signed a petition, and nearly 100 people and several organizations appealed the decision to higher courts. Stopping this expansion is an important issue in many ways, as it marks a crossroad. Will Sweden continue to deny the implications of climate change, or do we follow the ambitious goals and visions formulated in the agreed climate decrees? The institutions of a democratic society should protect the interests of its citizens, not the interests of private organizations. Climate change means that the institutions and laws created over the last century is out of date and no longer can protect us. They need to change. And good news, institutions and laws are socially constructed, formed by us, so they can only exist as long as we continue to follow them. It is time to change the system, and it is by far the most extensive change mankind has ever faced. But we have done it before. History lets us remember those who paid. To limit climate change and stop a total disaster. Thank you for your time and vote for this campaign.
Thank you, Sarah. We got there in the end. Thank God. Here you can see her campaign. It looks like this. I'm going to like it.
Thank you.
Go in and agree. The next campaign comes from Stina Johansson. Her campaign is called City Hubs, Enable Low-Emission Last-Mile Delivery. Stina is a support manager at We Love Bikes, and she has 3 minutes with us on stage.
Hi, I'm Stina Johansson. I'm working with We Love Bikes in Gothenburg, Sweden. We see a lot of challenges, and we have a piece of the puzzle to meet the rising e-commerce boom and combating climate change. We have low-emission, ultra-effective logistic solutions with cargo bikes for last-mile deliveries in the urban areas. And We Love Bikes is the producer of this large-capacity cargo bike. It is used daily and appreciated by big and well-known logistic companies in some 15 countries. It is smooth to ride, it is possible to use on the bike lanes, and it has electrical assist. And further, the container is 1 cubic meter, and it is removable. And on dense urban delivery routes, it can be up to twice as productive as a van. And to make it as productive as possible, containerization is key. That's when we want to replace vans with the right size vehicles at the right place. So we suggest that parcels are pre-packed in containers at the sorting terminal. And then they are taken on a large vehicle, like an electric truck or a tram or a barge, to the city center to handover points, which we call then city hubs. That's where the last mile delivery vehicles can take over and do the deliveries, the distribution of the parcels with the container. And this solution is better than yesterday's solution, with many vans going both on the highways and in the congested city streets. So we want to enable this by letting cities help out, because a lot of logistic companies and other actors should shift from using vans to more efficient and environmentally friendly options. And cities can be a big part of contributing to this shift. So C40 cities is the target here. We urge you to help make this transformation by planning for and building and promoting city hubs around the world. And that's a way for low emission, light vehicles can do the last mile delivery in the smoothest possible way. Thank you.
Big hand. Brilliant idea. Go in and click agree if you like that idea. Now, the next person to join us on stage is Lars Roth, the missing campaigner from before. Cut the energy tax and introduce a tax on power. Lars is a founder of Bright, and he will join us here on stage now. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Lars Roth. I'm a co-founder of Bright. Oh, sorry, jumped a bit. Bright is a smart electricity platform, and we're here to talk today about why we need to change the electricity tax now. The reason is that we have a huge power problem. We are hoping, of course, that more sustainable energy and sustainable electricity is going to be generated by solar and wind, and it will, I think. We're going to have a lot more of EVs roaming our streets. Most are going to try to charge when they come home from work. And even today, we have a lack of power in our network, prohibiting industries to be established. And if we had a really, really cold winter day, we could risk having a power outage in Stockholm. That's how difficult this is. And this is going to happen, the transition, I believe, is going to happen in a very fast pace. And today, the energy system or the electricity network is fully balanced, or it needs to be, between planning or trying to understand the need of consumption and then planning production. Problem is that it's difficult to plan wind and solar generation because it's done by weather. And it's going to happen fast. If you look at the cost tech curve of cars, this is from MIT, it's actually on a curve similar to Moore's law. The price is falling rapidly, and already in 2021 sometime, the EV is going to be cheaper than the internal combustion engine cars, and by 2030 they're going to be fully obsolete. And this is of course going to happen faster in the cities, where typically a larger part of the newer cars are sold. Same thing with solar. It's also on a cost tech curve, which since the 70s the installed base have doubled every second year. Great news, right? By 2030 we're going to generate more electricity from solar than we currently consume in the world. So we're going to have hours where we have loads of electricity, and we're going to have hours where we're not. Problem is, the tax is de-incentivizing us to use energy when it's available and when it's clean. If you take an example of an off-peak price of 20 euro on the Nord Pool spot exchange, where all electricity are bought, that in the end of a consumer price it could be 17%. 56% is tax, while off-peak is 45%. Due to the tax is fixed, it's always about 43 euro. What we're suggesting is that the tax should follow the spot price, much like it does on gasoline, which then would make a bigger incentive for people to consume off-peak instead, because then you would have a higher percentage of your price being at peak, and you can potentially save about €1. Technology is there, most meters are there, everyone is buying from the spot exchange. Of course, difficult for the consumer. What we've done and that we're offering and talking to a lot of energy companies about is Smart charging, smart heating. You configure once when you want the car to be ready in the morning, and then it utilizes the right prices to charge it, which is also great for the environment. So we're really hoping that the Swedish government will quickly change the energy tax to be a power tax, because it's using power on peak is bad for environment, for societies, and for the network. Thank you.
Thank you, Lars. Now we have one last campaign in this section, and then we're going to have a short break, and then we're going to reconvene here at 3 o'clock for the next section. But next, Susanne Wallner, and her campaign is called the World's First Solar and Hydrogen Gas Plant. Susanne is a development strategist from Mariestad's municipality. Welcome, Susanne.
Thank you very much. Thank you for taking time to coming here today. In the small town of Mariestad, the mayor, Johan Abrahamsson, and his political colleagues wanted to do a change. So they put their arguments away from left to right, and they had the vision to do something new, because they saw that the old industry was moving out and that people get out of work. So they set up a plan to build a new kind of concept that they called Electric Village, to start a test and demonstration for new kind of innovation and ideas. And if you take a look at this picture, you can see the world's first solar cell-driven hydrogen refueling station. This is from above, and you can see the solar cell park, and here is the tank station. And outside here today, you can see the car that we drive here with, and it's all it's all fossil free. How is it possible? It's possible that many people go together in efforts to do all this work. In the municipality of Mariestad, they did this, and I think it's possible in other places. And I think it would be really great if we have those kind of microgrid systems in other kind of places, like in buildings, boats, trucks, and even in last wagons. I think that's really possible. So to go forward in Mariestad, we like to invite everyone that have an innovation and have a project or a business model and that want to still earn money, because the industry has to transform, and this is one way to do it and still earn money so people can go to work. So at last, I would really like you to invite you to us in Mariestad. And our next step we're going to take is that we're looking on a kindergarten to do this kind of microgrid systems in. So thank you, and you're very welcome.
And Susanne,
Yes.
really great stuff you're doing.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to give yourself love. That
No.
will be strange. So therefore, I give a big climate love to Mariestad kommun.
Thank you
For-
very much.
Be a leader.
Okay, we will now have a short break, so feel free to have a comfort break, both those of you who are watching online and those of you in the room. And we'll be back here at 3 o'clock in a minute.
The time has finally come when people all over the world can join together and celebrate and encourage companies, municipalities, and organizations that do their utmost to fight climate change. And the time has finally come also when we can call out the ones that don't. A warm welcome to this launch and this conference hosted by We Don't Have Time, where we're going to launch this fantastic app. Because we don't have time to wait, but there is still time to act. And on this platform, we will also be able to launch fantastic climate ideas. My name is Katarina Rolfsdotter Jansson. I am a moderator, lecturer, and writer focusing on climate change action. And with me, next to me here, I have Ingmar Rentzhog, the founder and CEO of We Don't Have Time, and Frida Berry Eklund, who, just like me, were both founders of the Our Kids Climate Coalition. Frida, you'll be hosting the stage here, the Moon stage, and I'll ask you a little bit more later on what's going to happen here. But Ingmar, first of all, what is We Don't Have Time?
We Don't Have Time is a new social media platform where we together could do climate action.
And tell us more about the app. How does it work? And where do you download it?
You download it on your phone. So search for We Don't Have Time app in your App Store or Google Play, and you're ready to go. And the easiest way to explain what you could do on our platform is actually to show it.
Please, go ahead.
But not so boring on the computer screen, a little more interactive. So let us begin. What you could do on our platform is that you could send great climate ideas to organizations, political leaders, and the people in power. If we have an idea, for example, how a big corporation could go fossil-free in just 1 year, they just have to change some things in their business model. I could send this idea to that big corporation. But they will not care, because I'm only one person and they will think I'm a crazy person, so they will throw my mail in the spam folder. But here's the thing. If we get together on our platform, we could agree on this idea if we think the idea is great and realistic. And if enough people, all of you and people on the internet, agrees on this idea, that company will not ignore that idea. They will probably start communicating with us and perhaps implement that idea to go fossil-free. So that's how we could give organization ideas how to go fossil-free much faster. But it's not all about ideas. We also need to stop doing things. And here is the climate warning. And if I send you this, you will not like it. This is not great to receive. And it's the same thing one more time. If I only is alone sending a climate warning to an organization to tell them to stop, they will ignore me. But if I'm 10,000 of people that are doing that, it's hard to ignore. So perhaps they're going to change and stop doing what they were doing and people wanted them to stop with. So what's happening now is that we could give that organization climate love. Because if they do great stuff, and it doesn't matter if they did wrong stuff yesterday, it's the future that counts.
Absolutely.
We must encourage them, whoever they are. And this is the same thing. One climate love is nice to receive. But if you receive 1,000 love, you will probably be addicted and do more great stuff to save the planet.
Be very happy.
So that's the
And the
idea.
competitors will be envious.
Yeah, exactly.
And they want to change too.
Yeah.
I guess.
Competition or doing good.
Great. So if you have questions, for instance, how this works and how you can get involved, how do you work that?
As every social media, you could interact, you could share, and you could comment, etc. And for this event, if you download the app, and every new user on our platform is automatically following We Don't Have Time info account. And here is the Q&A. So just write your question you have for any of our speakers to this conference, and they will try to answer you on stage or later.
Great. And I understand that there are different levels for the campaigns that will be launched here. How does that work?
Yes. We could have a quick look. As you see here, this campaign is soon going to level 2. Here is one that soon goes to level 1. Again, I like to explain this in a little bit more concrete way. So we do like this.
All right.
If 100 people agrees with your campaign, we will send out, the platform will contact that organization and tell them that 100 people give you love, warning, or ID. It's still quite easily to ignore. So when 1,000 people agrees on this, we will start marketing that campaign through social media. And we will not just target our 700,000 followers, we will also target the company's customers, their employees, and perhaps maybe their employees' families, their kids, because it's their future, right? And we can go on. 5,000 agrees. We make some beautiful infographic, perhaps a short social media movie. 10,000 agrees. We will have someone writing an article about this subject, trying to contact and reach out to the reception of the campaign and make them talk, if they don't already do that. And the final stage, and we will add campaigns and we will change the numbers as we're growing, but the final stage, 100,000 agrees.
That's serious pressure.
It's serious pressure if you get 100,000 people giving a warning. We're going to start a PR campaign. And we are really creative. And we have a lot of people that help us do this. So you can't ignore it. That's the point with the levels.
Very exciting, Ingmar. And I know for sure Frida Berg-Eklund here at the Moon stage. This is sort of the heart of the launch at this stage. We have another stage, Town Hall, where I'll be hosting. So Frida, what's going to happen here today?
We are going to be launching 26 campaigns on this stage today. So for the first time, we're going to have 26 simultaneous campaigns running on this app.
Wow. And you'll be joining us later on the other stage to tell us a bit more has been happening.
I'll be joining you and I'll be reporting back how it's going. But the main thing is that people need to start agreeing and liking these campaigns so we can get the numbers off and get them off to a flying start.
And we did already.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, good luck, best of luck on this stage here, the Moon stage. And I'm going to run over to the Town Hall stage and we'll meet you later on.
See you there.
See you there.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, we are going to continue.
Yes, Frida.
So tell me a bit, so can anyone start a campaign?
That's the point. It's not just campaign makers that could do this. Everyone could do it, and it's really easy to do it. The only thing you do is you press the post button and you choose campaign, and you choose if you're going to show now ID or warning, and when you're ready to go. So it's really easy to do that. And it's not all about putting that really brilliant campaign up with long text and description. It could just be do something you see in the reality, because everything is going to show here nearby. So we could interact with the real world where we actually are. So it's not just going after the very big global corporation. It's also going, not after, but communicating for everyone in the city and where you live. And when you give away this campaign, it's also a score. So Mariestad Kommun here, they will probably get a lot of climate love, as we've seen earlier. And maybe an oil company maybe not going to receive so much love, and we could see that as a rating platform like TripAdvisor, etc. So what we have done here is we have combined Twitter, platform to discuss things, with TripAdvisor, platform where you could rate things, with signature sites where you could agree on issues, but not just what you need to stop, but also what you think is good out there. So we're actually doing something totally new here.
What's the goal? What's the big goal?
to stop the climate crisis. The big goal is to be enough people, and we need your help. We need you to help us invite friends to be used from this platform. We also need your help to tell us how we should build this, because this is just the start. We can't do it ourselves. We're inviting you really early in this project. And the goal is to be the power of many. So our leaders has to change, and we need to build a fossil-free future.
And can you target anyone with a campaign? Like, say I go into Starbucks and they have really bad recycling. You want to do something about it?
You could target any company and any public figure. So you need to be a public figure or an official company or organization. I can't target you, or is you a public figure?
Great. Thank you very much, Ingmar.
Yeah.
Let's continue. We'll just quickly rearrange all these boxes. And we are going to hear from our next campaign, and that is via link. And we're going to talk to John Davis, and his campaign is called 2030 is Closer Than You Think. John is a climate analyst and researcher, and he has 5 minutes to pitch his campaign. Nope. Okay. Nope. We don't have John, apparently. when you have this sign, it's like not happening. John has dropped off the face of the earth. So instead, we're going to Aran Cosentino, and his campaign is called Climate Love for Fridaysforfuture.org. And Aran is an Italian youth activist, and he should also be with us on Zoom. Fingers crossed. Let's see.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello, I am ready.
Can you hear us, Aran?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for welcoming me to this climate conference organized by We Don't Have Time. My name is Aran Cosentino. I am 16 years old. I come from the province of Udine in Italy. Since I am 12 years old, I am an environmental activist. I started collecting signatures to enter the separate waste collection in the middle school I attend. Every Friday, I take to the streets in Udine to protest in the way of what Greta Thunberg has done. We young people ask for concrete action to combat climate change before it is too late. In fact, according to the expert of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, we are less than 12 years to remedy. Each of us is not enough. A radical change must take place in the political, social sphere to reach your planet. Humankind has been added to your home. We have less than 12 years to act before it's too late. We demand concrete action, not words. We have heard too many. We young people who today we are taking to the streets all over the world. Ask for respect for your future that has been trampled on by the lords of power. We have powerful power, the power of the young people who want to change things. We have a right to a future. What do you need to go to school if we don't have a future? Today, we are writing the story, and it's just the beginning. I want to pretend that those who govern us for the common good and business, such as those linked to fossil fuels, stop suffering the planet. Oil in the atmosphere, but so far not enough has been heard. It's time to change course and take action, and also in a hurry. We also call for lowering the cost of public transport, such as the train, which is still expensive in Italy, and is not a play on words. In Italy, there is the largest number of participants in the strikes on Friday. In Milan, on March 15, 100,000 people went on strike for the climate. A success. More and more Italian cities and the world join together every day to defend their planet. It is a sin. Young people are making themselves felt, and the time has come to unite without any distinction for a common purpose. Governments are still not doing enough for the climate crisis. They ignore it, but we will continue to take to the street. Everyone is welcome. We need everyone, because you are never too small to make a difference. Now let's show your support for the international network who have organized Friday for Future all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Aran. Yes, go in and support the campaign. You can see it here. Oh no, clicked on the wrong one. Go in and support his campaign online. And the next campaign we have, and the campaigner, is called Stina Lindblad. And her campaign is called Climate Love to 1000 trädgårdar. That means 1,000 gardens. Stina is the vice president at Studiefrämjandet board, and she'll be talking to us for 4 minutes. Welcome, Stina. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Imagine a garden. Close your eyes. Imagine the sun is shining. What do you see? Tell me, someone. Some flowers, maybe? A tree? Something more? what you see, I think, is biodiversity. And there's nothing as beautiful for us humans as biodiversity. And Studiefrämjandet would like to give our climate love to all the participants in 1000 trädgårdar. But a special climate heart and climate love must we give to Gunnel Karlsson, who started the initiative and who is still running it together with Riksförbundet Svensk Trädgård and Studiefrämjandet. Every other year, 1,000 participants start to open their gardens for a day and invite gardening lovers to visit and watch and learn in their own gardens. And the gardens can be any kind of garden. It could be a small garden, a large farm, vegetable farm, and it can also be a balcony in the city. What all these gardens have in common is that they benefit biodiversity. The gardens are oases for pollinators. They play an important role, pollinators play an important role in the world food industry. Due to use of pesticides, lack of flowering plants, and lack of wood, dead wood to live in, the pollinators are decreasing rapidly. We will therefore thank all the enthusiastic gardeners that participate in the 1,000 gardens, alltså 1000 trädgårdar, for highlighting the importance of biodiversity and for inspiring others to plant flowers and plants that bumblebees, bees, butterflies and other insects love. The next time 1000 trädgårdar takes place is in June next year. Everyone is welcome to join, and there are no requirements except for it must be fun. So please agree on our campaign for protecting pollinators and biodiversity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do go in and agree. Behind me you can see as well on the screen all the actions that have been taken. You can see that 711 agrees on the different warning campaigns. On the ideas, 337. And on climate love, we have 321. So please go in and make your voice heard. The next person that is coming up to present their idea is Katarina Pauli. And the campaign is called IKEA, Make Climate-Friendly Choices Easy. Katarina is the managing director at a win-win world, and she's coming to us, hopefully, via Zoom. Katarina, can you hear us? Katarina, can you hear us?
Hi everyone, my name is Katarina Pauli. I'm the founder of A Win-Win World. We do behavioral design for a sustainable and resource-efficient future. I'm also the chair of a network called Nudging Sweden. If you haven't heard of nudging before, it's a method within behavioral science. So we use psychology, design, cognitive science, and behavioral science combined together to make sustainable choices easy. For a campaign for a big global brand called IKEA. And IKEA, as you know, we make furniture, lovely furniture, and is quite well known for being also a sustainable brand. For example, I think most consumers know pretty well on how to choose on foods or transportation systems, but how about choosing a kitchen? How can we make sustainable, climate-friendly choices in the store? I think we should look at the lifetime assessments, but it's kind of hard to do the maths when you're in the store itself, right? So how about we ask IKEA to help us with that, to give us that friendly nudge in the right decision that we actually need when we are in the decision-making process within the store. So therefore, our idea is that we ask IKEA to maybe use smileys or a good way of using climate labels so that we can get helped on our decision-making. A set of climate smileys, for example, make CO2 numbers easier to understand. And I also know that studies made both in Norway and the UK, they try to use nudging to make more efficient, energy-efficient choices while using tumblers, for example. So by calculating the entire lifetime of the tumbler instead of just the cost itself, well, it's much easier to make a sustainable choice. So therefore, we can get help as consumer to look past behind the price tag. So climate labels and lifetime energy costs would make it much easier for IKEA's customers to shop climate friendly. And IKEA's global scale, that of course means that there's a huge potential for immense and crucial emission reductions. Therefore, I'll ask you to support my campaign to nudge IKEA together into making climate-friendly choices easy. Thank you.
Big hand, Katarina. Thank you very much. Just gonna, where is it? Now there are even more agrees. Next up, we have Milika Milosev, and she's going to talk about the RepClimb app. And Milika is the Director of Strategic Initiatives at Team 54 project, coming to us via Zoom.
All year round platform today here. We don't have time platform. What would you say is the importance of having a 365 days a year, 24/7 thing going on, pressure being put every day, every hour?
Us?
What would you say about the importance of that? Since we're launching on a specific
Can you hear us?
Yeah, well, look, I think that we've got to the point, and we may not
TV
have
on in the background.
birthday was originally launched, but we've got to the point where we've recognised that a safe and stable climate system is necessary for us to enjoy our human rights and to really sustain our welfare in every aspect of our lives. So I think that now in any
Can you hear us? If you can hear us, you are on. Let's see. Can you hear us, Milika?
Hello.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello. Okay. Hello, everyone. Happy Earth Day. My name is Milica Miloshev, and I'm from Team 54 Project International, and I'm also Chief Application Director for the RepClimb app, the climate application, the climate campaign that I will present you today. The RepClimb app is framed to be a mobile application that will be a real-time reporting system, which will enable users to become environmental stewards and by speaking up and by sharing live video reports of climate incidents that are happening on their respective locations. The application will have real live video reporting features and also graphic images for evidence that will be uploaded and backed up on the website platform that is connected with the mobile application. the operating system of the application is also linked and connected with GPS tracking system. All this provide us chance actually to enable relevant governments and stakeholders so that we together can create a sustainable so that we all together can create sustainable development, and also to develop pre and post disaster risk management. The data that are collected with through the mobile app, RepClimb app, can also be used for scientific research. As well, the RepClimb app represents alert warning system for citizens and for tourists that are visiting and traveling to vulnerable nations that are affected by climate unusual weather patterns, so that can be safe, and all in the bid to enhance and to improve adaptation. Many of you will ask, why climate reporting? Well, climate reporting is one of the ways that we can raise awareness about the climate crisis that is happening and that is affecting us all. Through the RepClimb app, people will be able to see that the climate crisis and the climate issue is a real thing, and that it's happening in this very moment, that it's happening every day, and that it's happening on every inch of the planet Earth. Today, we're living in a digital era, and we all know that digital technology can provide us, and that has such a power actually to provide us with the platform that we all have access to, and that we all need, so that we can easily and effectively address the climate crisis. And we can build the foundation for sustainable development. This is the reason why we addressed Google as our recipient for this climate campaign, because Google can help RepClimb app to become alive. Together, let's create this application, let's create the RepClimb app, and turn this digital era into climate solutions era. Please click I agree, and please click I agree for this campaign and for the RepClimb app, because we don't have time to spend it on nothing. And now it's the time to drive climate awareness into climate action. Happy Earth Day once again, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That's the RepClimb app. So please, if you're just joining us, make sure you have downloaded the We Don't Have Time app, which allows you to see all these amazing campaigns and go in and click agree on the ones that you really like. Remember, you can also share them in your own social networks, or for that matter, start your own campaign. Next up, we have two people, and that's Emma Bergeling, who's the co-founder and board member of Climate Students. We have Viggo Jeppsson, who's international coordinator for Climate Students. And their campaign is about that universities must practice what they teach, and specific focus on the universities in Iceland, Denmark, Norway, and Finland. Welcome to the stage, Emma and Viggo.
Thank you, and better? Thank you so much. We Don't Have Time for organizing such an outstanding event and for giving us the opportunity to spread our climate idea. We are Climate Students, a student movement that is growing very fast and is working to help universities live in line with their own science and practice what they teach. The climate crisis can seem overwhelming, to say the least. As an individual passionate about countering climate change, it can be difficult to know where to start. At least this is what it was like for me, until I came across the newly started Climate Student movement last fall. No one can do everything, but everyone can do something, the saying goes. And I am convinced that this is a key message for us to act on now that we have to save the planet. Do we have a clicker for the PowerPoint, or? Oh, great. To avoid to get above a 1.5 degrees of global warming and climate catastrophe, we all must act now. And a concrete way to do so is to dig where we stand. And we students stand at our universities and have a huge possibility to impact them to become leaders, paving the way into a sustainable future. The universities produce climate knowledge, but does not live by it. Here in Sweden, for instance, universities are amongst the worst emitters in the government agencies. And it's time we do something about that. Because if the institutions producing the climate knowledge doesn't live by it, how do they expect others to do so? Climate Students' goals is to help our universities to take their science seriously by reducing their emissions in line with it, and thereby sending strong signals to the rest of society to do the same. So last October, a small group of engaged students at SLU in Uppsala came together and called out to students all over Sweden to mobilize groups. We spread the word via Facebook, posters, and our contacts, and the response was massive. After less than 3 months, we had local groups actively working at their universities, at 10 universities. And more are constantly joining in. So the will to act is really here, and we students have the opportunity to make a difference.
One more, please. So, we are working for reduced university greenhouse gas emissions, and we try to do that in several ways. Among the things we do is collecting thousands of student signatures in petitions. We communicate with principals, deans, and environmental managers. We try to cooperate with any kind of student unions and other organizations. We organize events to help spread climate knowledge and reflect upon it. And we meet politicians and try to influence government directives. Anyway, the time to act is now, and emissions must reduce now. So we keep the momentum of our movement by expanding internationally. Thanks to the We Don't Have Time social platform, we are now launching 4 campaigns, each one directed to the students at one university in each of our neighboring countries. Please change the slide, please. Yeah. And this is the model. We want local groups to form internationally across the world at different universities and also combine their strength as a national group and thereby communicating with the rest of the world and form our union. Our universities are scholars, they are scientists, and they are key actors in the struggle to save our future. It's time for them to act upon the knowledge that they themselves produce. And we, their students, can help them do so by combining our voices and our energy. So we now call upon all the students of the world to mobilize behind this one banner. And together, we will form a global movement and help our universities practice what they teach. So please download the app, check out our campaigns. And if this excites you, please contact us, and we'll get started right away. Thank you.
You can change the slides a couple once.
Yeah.
Our contact info.
Emma and Viggo, thank you very much. That was really exciting. Of course, as a parent, I'm really excited both that the youth are rising up and also like university students doing that. But just a quick question. Why is it important for students to care about climate change?
Well, first of all, it's their entire future that's pretty much at stake. So whether it is for their own sake or for the sake of their children and grandchildren, or just because the Earth is a pretty amazing place right now, it's unlikely how well balanced everything is, and we are about to, or if we don't act on it right now, we have a short window of opportunity to do something about it and to stay in this very perfectly balanced way. So they should care for everything that lives, their own future, their children's future, and the planet's sake.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you with your campaign. Of course. Thank you. Make sure you go in and like the Climate Students campaign. We are going to have a short break and we'll be back in about 10 minutes time and continue with more exciting campaigns. Okay, we are live and we are back with the next person who is Barbro Martell, and her campaign is called The World Stand, a yearly event for climate action. And Barbro is also a psychoanalyst. Welcome, Barbro.
Here is a stand for the whole world's population. And here it is by states. You can see us Swedes up there. This is Americans, Africans, Indian, Japanese, Chinese, and you see Europe there. It was in year 2015. And this model is suitable for mobiles, computers, and e-book readers. And for the climate, it's we on the stands that are the real actors. So. Learn from the sports, create challenges. Remember the experiences and emotions when the Olympic Games take place or World Cup in football. Why not create new types of sport for energy and climate? On the arena of the stand, a profile can be presented for a country without figures, only with horizontal stables. And this is a negatives, coal, oil, sun, wind, water, the positive side. And this can be presented for a country, and a year later we can compare what reductions or what they have made. Can we then say that the country has reached a goal of, for instance, 7% reduction of fossils during the year? You could take one of these factors separately, example, reduction of coal. Then you can compare countries, and you can also see the reductions a country has made. Step one, a movie is produced for information about the coming shows. People on the stands can be symbolized by modern animation techniques. On the other hand, living people can be filmed on the arena and rewarded and shown. The film then has to be approved by United Nations and distributed to all countries so that they will know what will happen. Step two, the real shows could be on the Earth Day. Which countries should be shown? Separate countries with high emissions can be chosen by lottery on the arena in the face of everyone to make it more exciting. USA, United Nations, European countries, and China should be shown every time. Costs, they are negligible. It all takes part only in media. Finally, let us have a look on the coming growth of population in year 2025 and 2050. No. So, there. The red is the growing population. We live longer. We live longer. Our conclusion is more energy is needed of the right type. And if you want to know more about it, I've written this. It's quite new. And for our old people who have forgotten what we learned in school, it can be useful. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbro. That's an excellent campaign, and it also, I think, shows that campaigns are started with very young people up to older people. So everyone needs to get involved to solve climate change, that's for sure. Now I'm hoping that we have a connection with Kathy Orlando. And Kathy's campaign is called Canada's Carbon Pricing Policy and its Champion. And Kathy is from Citizens Climate Lobby, and she's got 3 minutes to pitch her campaign.
Happy Earth Day from Canada, everyone. My campaign is for you to send some love for Canada's carbon pricing plan and its champion, the Honourable Catherine McKenna. My name is Kathy Orlando, and I work as the International Outreach Manager, as well as Canadian Director of Citizens Climate Lobby. At Citizens Climate Lobby, we stand behind the politicians who stand up for the climate. In Canada, since 2010, our incredible volunteers have had over 3,000 media hits, have had over 800 meetings with our politicians, and 13 times they have gathered in Ottawa to lobby for carbon fee and dividend. What is carbon fee and dividend? It's a carbon pricing policy where the government puts an incrementally increasing fee on carbon pollution from fossil fuels and gives all the money back to the people. It starts at $20 a ton and goes up $10 per ton per year. This slowly and incrementally rising fee on carbon pollution allows for predictability for industries, businesses, investors, and households to know when, on a timeline, carbon-based fuels will become more expensive than clean energy. And by giving all the money back to the people, it does not put an undue burden on us. And in fact, in Canada, we know that 80% of people will come out ahead under this policy. As well, it stimulates local economies. Carbon fee and dividend policy has been endorsed by 3,508 economists in the USA, including 27 Nobel Prize winning economists. In October 2018, my Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, announced that Canada would have basically a carbon fee and dividend policy. You'd think with all this great support and evidence out there that it should be a slam dunk and everybody would be behind it. But no, it's been under attack. And not by everyone. A lot of people do support it, but we do need some help. In fact, the majority of Canadians do support it. But on social media, it's been under attack, especially our Environment Minister, the Honourable Catherine McKenna. So I am hoping that you will support our campaign and send some love for Canada's carbon pricing policy, as well as its defender, the Honourable Catherine McKenna, our Environment and Climate Change Minister. Last week, I was in Washington, D.C. at various carbon pricing policy seminars. The world is pricing carbon. 46 countries in the world price carbon. 20% of the world's economy is now under a carbon price. Canada's carbon pricing policy is an excellent model to the world on how we can price carbon. I'm hoping that you will defend it wherever you live in the world, because this will help us all move forward together. Together, we are the solution. We are all connected on this planet. Ultimately, we need everyone pricing carbon, and Canada's carbon pricing policy is one we should all be championing. Merci, miigwech, and thank you for this opportunity to have you champion our carbon pricing policy. It's Canadians are polite, so please join us in championing our carbon pricing policy. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Exciting things happening in Canada. Also exciting things happening in the app on the platform. We have 558 actions in terms of climate love. And we got ideas, 534 actions supporting the cool ideas that are on the app. And we have almost breaking 1,000 people agreeing to the climate warning campaigns that have been covered so far. Excellent. So keep going in and agreeing on the campaigns that you like and share them in your social media networks. Next up, we have Corentin Bissot, and his campaign is called Universities Need to Teach the Truth. Corentin is the co-founder of the French Student Manifesto. Welcome, Corinne. Yes, you are on. Hear us? You are on.
Hello, everyone. So my campaign is about superior education. It is a common question for students to wonder about the future. Where will I work when I graduate? What are my life plans? And at the age of the environmental crisis, these questions become even more confusing than what they already are. So together with our students from French universities, we had the intuition 1 year ago that there was a shared feeling among students. While they were really aware of the climate and environmental crisis, they were frustrated by the scale of the answers given to it. What's more, they were asking themselves this question: how to reconcile this acute awareness with a job in a company that didn't take that into account. So we wrote a text to talk about this feeling. We believe that writing it down was the first step to bring it into conversation and avoid it being repressed. The text, called Wake Up Call on the Environment, a student manifesto, was submitted to signature last September and was signed by 30,000 students in France and in Sweden, in more than 300 universities. In my university, more than 25% of the students pledged through this text to choose the company they would be working for, according to environmental criteria. What the text states is simply that we no longer want to be torn between our desire to act and our everyday constraints. In our manifesto, we voice both our determination not to be part of an outdated system and our will to work towards a more sustainable one. What we discovered is that students signing this text had a great power, because every company is, before anything, a group of people that decide to work together. And student putting pressure on recruitment is significant. Our text entrusted companies up to the highest scale of hierarchy. In the month following the end of the signatures, we met with CEOs of French biggest companies to present our ideas. And many things emerged from this meeting. But among these, one thing was clear. One of the greatest restraints to more ambitious environmental policy was the fact that most of them, the scale of the crisis wasn't fully understood by the leaders, while the competencies to tackle it lacked among the collaborators. And the root reason for that is that even in 2019, most students won't hear anything about the climate crisis during their superior education if they don't choose it as a specialty. So tackling climate change requires to transform radically our whole society. and we need everyone's energy for that. So since all the signatories from our text were students, we started to mobilize them to take action in their university. Students in universities where up to 20% signatories use this number as an argument to successfully transform their school curriculum. But we now need to change scale. It is the role of policy maker to change superior education. Mobilization has its limits. So here's what we expect from this campaign. Ask the French Minister of Superior Education to include in every program a model about the climate and environmental crisis for everyone to know the truth about it and have the competencies to take it. We demand that every student graduating from university in any field has a complete understanding of the issue at stake. This applies for each of them to understand how urgent the situation is, to know the order of magnitude of the different sources, to understand the complex links between climate change and energy, agricultural materials. This knowledge should be acquired in compulsory courses for everyone. What's more, tackling the climate crisis requires to transform radically our means of production. In addition to these compulsory courses, climate change should be included in the way marketing, electrical engineering, architecture, or any specialty is taught. So agree to this campaign if you think it's time to teach the big picture about the environmental crisis. Agree to this campaign if you want to read the French education minister's response. Together, we can improve our education. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Exciting stuff from even more students rising up. Now we're going to have a 5-minute comfort break, and then we'll be right back.
Hi.
I don't have any sound on mine. We're just setting up everything, make it work, and I'll get back with more information.
Fine.
Test, test. Do you hear me on Zoom? Do you hear me on Zoom?
No, I don't hear you.
Do you hear me? Så. Hej, hej.
Hey, can you hear
Hi.
me?
Oh, super. Do you see us?
No, I don't see you. And like to me, Sam Mag is mute.
Här inkopplat till den och sen berättar lite grann kort om den och så visar nästa lägger upp den. Men vi får se hur det blir. I värsta fall så blir det bara liksom att
Okay, I can see Sam. But can't hear him.
Ja, men det är bara att se på, tror jag.
Sen är det ert sjok, eller hur? Alltså efter intervjun.
Ja, sen är det ett sjok. Och de är
fått avbrott för sina prov.
Det är sant. Det skickar ju... Nej, men den ska fan synas.
Men sen kör jag på då. Det är ingen pausa.
Ni kan släppa upp honom här om ni...
Där, tryck. Det är jättebra.
Ser man honom?
Ja.
Inte bättre om
Ja, fast längre in då. Där. Ja, det blir jättebra.
Ser Cosentinos? Har Cosentinos flyttat?
Inte just
Can
nu.
you hear us?
Inte just nu.
Can you hear us, Corentin?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. We're about to start. Now
Okay.
start by asking Emma a
So-
question.
Who I am speaking to?
30 sekunder. Vi är redo. De pratar lite fortfarande. Det blir så ibland. Ja. Jag är beredd. Emma, Frida och Cosentino är beredda. 2, nej förlåt, det var skjuta. Ja, sorry. Kör.
Welcome back to the moon stage. With us we have Corentin Bissot online and we have Emma Bergeling. Emma, can you tell us what is happening at universities around the world right now?
Well, I can start by telling you what's not happening. They are not reducing their emissions in line with their own science. They are flying a lot around to different conferences. They are not eating environmentally friendly food, etc. And in a lot of the cases, internationalization and sustainable development as goals are put against each other as arguments to not stop flying. So this is what we students find problematic, and we think it risks the credibility of the science and that they don't live in line with their own science. So what we are doing and what is happening is that we are starting a student movement that is very active in Sweden. We have just since this fall, we have 10 active groups at universities around Sweden that are actively working to impact universities to live in line with their own science and practice what they teach. And just now, 10 minutes ago, we had a pitch here and are going international as well. So we are encouraging our fellow Nordic countries to start climate student groups and also other countries around the world.
Great, thank you. Corentin, you're with us online. Why should students care about the climate crisis?
Oh, they should care because it's a crisis, so it's urgent. What we're doing here in France is a bit different from what I just heard. For sure, universities need to stay in line with what their research is saying. But even what they are teaching is not always in line with what their research is saying. So that's what we are trying to change in France with the student manifesto. We've seen that one of the main restraints to more profound, deeper change is the ability of today's leader to understand the climate crisis. And this finds its roots in how the superior education does not talk enough about it. And we feel it's a huge problem, and we are mobilizing students in France and also trying to put pressure on the government to try to change that.
Great. And Emma, what change would you like to see at universities around the world?
We would like them to start taking their science seriously by living by it. If they produce the knowledge about the climate crisis that says that we have just a few years to do something about it, they should take that very seriously, and they know more than anyone else what needs to be done. So we want them to reduce their emissions in line with the 1.5 degree target of the Paris Agreement, which is for industrial countries 16% per year, so a reduction of 50% in 4 years, and then we want them to be down to 0 by 2030.
And Corentin, what do you think needs to happen?
So universities clearly need to be teaching deeper, more clearly what's happening and give the competency to students to tackle the climate crisis. For now, in France, in 2019, the only way for a student to understand what's happening in terms of our environment or climate is by his own curiosity. So if he's going to read by himself some articles, watch some videos, but he won't hear about that during his superior education if he or she doesn't choose it as a specialty. So, for example, you can do all your studies in finance without hearing anything about climate change, while this is going to be one of the main drivers of how our societies are going to evolve. So it is urgent that we teach that in university as soon as possible.
And my last word to you, if you can say anything to all the students around the world watching, what would that be?
Can I say two things?
You can say two things.
Okay. So first of all, we students can really make a difference at our universities. We can dig where we stand, and we have more power than at least I thought before I got involved in the climate student movement. And second of all, we really need all of you to make this happen and to save the future. We need as many people as possible. So don't hesitate to get in touch and get involved.
Great. Thank you very much. A big hand for Emma and Corentin. Thank you very much. And in a few minutes, we'll continue with even more campaigns here from the Moon stage. And now we'll take a 5-minute break. And now we are taking a 5-minute break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Moon stage, where we have heard from 11 campaigners already. Campaigns that are up and running online. You can go into the We Don't Have Time app right now and support these campaigns. Click I agree on the ones that you like and make sure you share them as well in social media. About the app, make sure that you know that you can put climate love campaigns up there, climate warnings, or you can also pitch ideas to a company, to a politician, to a municipality, or to an organization that you want to do more or less about climate change. Now, remember as well that more support means more action. So the more likes or the more agrees each campaign has, the more it will rank. And with every level it goes up, more things will happen. There'll be campaigns in social media and other PR activities surrounding these campaigns. Now, the next campaign is from two people. That's Agnes Karlmark. She's a climate reality leader and a student at Anna Whitlock High School. We have Miriam Yiha, who's a student also at Anna Whitlock High School. And they want to show some climate love for the vegetarian default option at schools. Welcome, big hand.
We are students at Anna Whitlock High School, and our school cafeteria differs a lot from many others. In most schools in Sweden, meat is served several times a week. However, at our school, students are offered a variety of vegetarian and vegan options. And meat from cow, pig, lamb, and chicken is not on the menu. And vegetarian food can often be associated with boring food, but that's not the case. Now, is it, Mariam?
No, we are served a wide range of organic, colorful, and fresh food, all made from scratch. And as students, we appreciate the thought put into our meals.
And we also think it is only natural that vegetarian food is the default option in school, a place where we trust science, where we're told that red meat does have a bad effect on the climate.
Yes, we as students feel as if we make a difference together. In our school, they serve us, in our school cafeteria, they give us an option to together, all 2,000 students of us, during lunchtime make a difference.
Yeah, and if we're going to solve the climate crisis, we need to act on every level of society. And in our school cafeteria, we work with how the individual can affect if we join hands. The small choices we make not only change our daily life, but in the end, our way of life.
To us, it is a given that if our school books tells us that red meat has a bad effect on the climate, then we should get the same message from our cafeteria. And school is supposed to be a place for innovation and trying new things. Therefore, we want to give love to Anna Whitlock High School for daring to take a stand for the better of the planet.
So please agree to our campaign to encourage more schools to take a stand. Thank you.
Okay.
Great, thank you very much. Make sure you go in and like the campaign. Oh, I already liked it. There you go. 110 likes already. Next up, we have Gustav Johansson, and his campaign is called It's Time to Act to Save the Veggie Burger. Gustav is the owner of Jävligt Gott, Sweden's largest vegan food blog. Welcome, Gustav.
Hello. All right. Yeah, should we go? All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Gustav Johansson, and I run Jävligt Gott, which is Sweden's largest vegan food blog. I wonder, did I have a clicker anywhere? There it is. Yes, because I'm going to show something on that one. I believe very much in making it easy to do the right thing. For me, that was very much associated with when I became a vegetarian, I wanted to find ways to make the food that I loved, the classic Swedish traditional food, better. And that means vegetarian. And nowadays, vegetarian food is an absolutely rise. It's everywhere, and it's so much easier to get a hold of than it was 10 years ago when I became a vegetarian, and now that I'm a vegan. And this should be an absolutely positive thing. In the burger chains, you can have like this. It's absolutely everywhere. There's so many options right now in grocery stores, in restaurants, and it's really booming. And it's making it so much easier for people to choose a sustainable option. And this should be really something that everybody, I think, should be rooting for. But unfortunately, that's not really the case. You see, there's such a thing as the European Parliament's Agricultural Committee, which is a part of the European Parliament that decides and regulates the farming politics, so to say. And they have just passed a proposition where they want to ban the word burgers, sausages, and steaks from being used on vegan and vegetarian products. You might think that this is a joke, but actually it's not. It's really something that already exists in France, where they call the burgers discs and the sausages for tubes. And there is actually a similar ban in effect already in the entire European Union on dairy products, where you can't call oat milk, it's called beverage. And this, I think, is something that's really a problem, because this actually is a vegan burger. It's absolutely perfect, it's absolutely available, and it's something that I think really helps people to choose a better option. So this new proposition, what's it really good for? Who benefits from this proposition? Well, the French Social Democrat Eric Andrieux, who proposed this legislation, said it's in order to help consumers to be less confused in the grocery stores. If you pick a burger, then you're obviously expecting it to be meat, and if it's plant-based, you will be confused. And I'd say that's not the case. First of all, there is already tons of legislation that actually helps and prohibits people from saying that a vegan burger is a meat burger. It's really clearly marked that it's a vegan burger. And otherwise, I think the thing that this really is going to do is that when you rebrand burgers and sausages and steaks into discs and tubes and patties, it's going to be even harder to find them and to choose the more sustainable option. So then is this in favor of the farmers? Is this something that's going to help the European farmers? And I don't really think so. Because if we just take 1 second and look at what the vegan options actually bring to the table, a meat burger has 26 kilograms of emissions from 1 kilo of beef. That's 26 kilograms of carbon dioxide per kilo product. But a vegan Beyond Burger, that's a good example too. They've actually done a life cycle analysis on their own burgers, and it's 2.2 kilos. That's a tenth of a meat burger for a vegan burger. And that's just one of the effects on the climate that it has. But you can also see processed meats, especially like sausages and burgers and smoked products, has a clear WHO, the World Health Organization, shows it's a real clear connection between that and bowel cancer. And there's also the production of meat products has a huge connection to deforestation and mass extinction of animals around the globe. So is this really something that the European farmers would win by? I don't think so. The thing that makes this really such a big problem is that the European agricultural policy, the common agricultural policies of the European Parliament is called CAP. Regulates huge subsidies and huge regulations that impacts European farmers all over Europe, French farmers, Swedish farmers, and so on. And what they regulate impacts our daily food, our grocery stores, hugely. And when they say that the food that we love should be meat, they're also saying that European farmers should not be able to, should not be helped into rather facing the climate change rather than cementing old traditional ways. So the thing is, no one wins from ignoring that meat has impact on climate. Not the farmers. This, for example, is a Swedish farmer called Adam Arnesson, which collaborates with Oatly, which I think you all know, in trying to find ways for Swedish farmers to be part of taking steps towards being the producers of the new vegan food, instead of saying that we only can produce meat. And this is the kind of things that the European Parliament, with their CAP politics, should enforce. They should help farmers to take a step towards being more sustainable, rather than cementing them in producing meat. Because I'd say banning and regulating the word vegan burgers is more or less like banning the electric car. You're just saying that in order to support Volkswagen, we should ignore the fact that electric cars is becoming a thing. And I think they're doing the exactly same thing here. Because saying that burgers can't be vegan is saying that burgers can't be sustainable. And that's really something, that's a big problem, because the thing we need to do is to find ways to make the food that we love better, instead of having to teach people how to learn something else and then leave all the traditional food behind us. That's really not going to make the transition into a more sustainable diet faster or more effective. We really need to update our food culture rather than to replace it. I think if you take the Italian people, for example, and say that you can't eat carbonara anymore, they would say like, all right, then we're not part of this. But if I'd say you can make the carbonara vegan, you can make the salsiccia vegan, you can make the burgers vegan, then I think we really have an opportunity to help people transition into sustainable foods faster. And if the European Parliament, instead of trying to regulate and cement things into the past, help us take and transition into the future by saying that they should use the CAP to help farmers be part of this solution, rather than ignoring it, then we have a possibility. And to do this, we're launching the campaign, Save the Veggie Burger, hashtag Save the Veggie Burger, where you can be part of actually, for the European election, to bring up these questions and help put a focus on how the European Parliament's agricultural politics actually are affecting our abilities to eat sustainable now in very concrete ways today. And the good thing about this is that we have an election coming up, because the thing that has been put forward today is a proposition to the Agricultural Committee. It's not a ready and finalized deal. It's a proposition, and it's going to be lifted up into the Parliament after the election, which is really good, because with the election we have the possibility to re-elect and put focus on every one of our candidates from the entire EU and lift them up and say, are you going to say no to this stupid suggestion, and instead lift up ways to use the CAP to help European farmers to take sustainability further on. So call on your candidates to take stand on this question, agree to our campaign and help share it, so that more people around Europe can be part of this movement to both save the veggie burger, but also put a finger on how important the European agricultural politics and what a possibility it is with vegan food, if we're really actually allowing ourselves to see that our food culture can be upgraded, rather than having to be outdated when we say that the vegan burgers are no more. So that's it for me. Together we are the solution. We can save the veggie burger, and I hope you will join the campaign today at wedon'thavetime.org. Thank you very much. Yeah, I made it.
You made it.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to get the English flowing in the beginning.
You did a great job. You did a great job.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, Gustav. And now we have Robert Sabelström, who's going to talk about the tax-free carbon offset. Robert is also the CEO of Climate Hero. Give him a big hand.
Our slides?
Yes.
Great. Okay. We only have 10 years to cut the global greenhouse gas emissions in half. And given that the emissions still increased during last year, it's easy to feel pessimistic. It's also easy to point your finger at countries such as China and India, who contributed a large part to that increase. But that's a faulty perspective, because when you consider the consumption footprint per capita, these countries live much more sustainable than what we do. In fact, 50% of the global greenhouse gas emissions origin from just 10% of the world's population. That's the richest part of the world that you and I belong to. And it's our consumption lifestyles that is the most dire threat to our planet right now. So the first thing you need to do is to look yourself in the mirror and calculate and reflect on your own carbon footprint. And carbon calculators is nothing new. They've been around for over 10 years. But they've been developed by scientists and by environmental organizations. And they had a quite bad user experience, and they used a tone of voice based on alarmism and shaming. Robert, you live as if there were 4.2 planets, is, for example, a common ending. But that doesn't work. That doesn't help me to be empowered and feel that I really can change and will change. My name is Robert Sabelström, and I'm the founder of Climate Hero. And we have a new take on this. We use positive psychology to empower people to start a low-carbon diet. By answering just a few simple questions, Climate Hero can help you to calculate your carbon footprint in less than 5 minutes. Then you receive positive feedback on what you already do good today, because everybody does something good. After that, you receive personalized tips on things you can do to reduce your footprint, which you can say yes or no to. And all that happened in a very laid-back dialogue with our friend ClimateBot here. And it has a completely solution-oriented approach. And we launched Climate Hero less than a year ago in Sweden. And so far, 40,000 people in Sweden have tested Climate Hero. And on average, these people have pledged to reduce their carbon footprints with over 30% by changing their living patterns. On top of that, many people have also chosen to go completely carbon neutral by offsetting the remaining footprint to 200% via Climate Hero. And that makes our total reduction 40% for every person who tests the calculator.
Hi.
Today, we're ready to scale. And on Earth Day, 22nd of April, it's our official launch together with We Don't Have Time, where Climate Hero is available in English. And we also launched a campaign where we urge the tax department in Sweden and other countries to remove the VAT on carbon offsetting. That would send a very strong message and empower more people to go carbon neutral. And we believe that could be the tipping point that we could help to enable the 50% reduction necessary by 2030 already next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Stefan Sevarese, hopefully with us online. His campaign is called Shut Down Coal Power Plants in 2020. Stefan comes from saving our planet.
Hi.
Welcome, Stefan, you're on.
I would do that. So you
Stefan, can you hear us?
Hi, the first alarm is here. I want to send a warning today about the fact that we need to act really fast. Do you know that we have emitted more CO2 since 1980 than previous 300 years? All living species are at risk because the sea level will rise, and Dr. James Hansen has predicted that by year 2070, multi-meter sea level rise might hit several areas in all over the world. The economy and the infrastructure are at risk, and the Stern report says that many countries will see their GDP dip because of climate change. So climate change is here. It's actually worse than we thought, and we don't have time for saving our planet if we don't start to act right now. So what should we do? We should not wait for the second alarm. We had the first alarm. It was in 2017. We had gigantic hurricanes all over the Atlantic, huge storms all over the world, and fires and blazing through several countries. We can't wait for a second alarm. You know what happened last week? We lost one of the most beautiful French monuments, Notre-Dame de Paris, in Paris, and well, it was set on fire, but the first alarm was detected, but the firemen ignored it, and they waited until the second alarm to call the fire brigade. Do you want to do that with our planet? That's the question. So my advice is don't wait for the second alarm, act now. And if our president, Emmanuel Macron, is the champion of the earth, he earned this title last year from the United Nations Environmental Program, he should take 4 simple measures next year so that France can show the lead and help the world move forward. Because our partner organization, Climate Scorecard, says that we need to decrease our CO2 emissions by 5% per year. And all countries should increase their commitments towards the Paris Agreement and increase their ambition, climate ambition, so that we reach the plus 1.5 degree target. Those 4 measures are very simple. First, you need to shut down all coal power plants. France can do it next year. There is no reason for us not to do it. Our partner organization, Sauvons le Climat, has modeled this and can prove that it's possible. The second point is stop increasing electricity prices, because electricity in France is low carbon. We have the largest low carbon power grid, and it's the fastest way to decarbonize the economy and switch from fossil fuels to clean electricity. But in order to do that and to speed up the process, you need to stop increasing electricity prices. There is no reason to increase electricity because the price of electricity, the production costs are not increasing. The third measure is to create new carbon sinks. By planting trees and using carbon negative materials instead of carbon intensive material, we can actually save 20% of the CO2 emissions. Carbon negative materials exist. Here is a sample. This is carbon fiber stone. It's made of stone and carbon fiber. And the carbon fiber now can be made from CO2 from the atmosphere, thanks to new processes which have been shown at COP24. And the fourth point is for Europe to really increase its climate ambition and decrease its CO2 emissions really fast. For that, citizens are calling for an ecological Europe. You can sign up tomorrow on objectiveearth.eu or objectiveterre.eu in French. And the best way to get President Emmanuel Macron to act fast on those 4 points is for everyone, because we need to do that together, to sign and support this campaign to act now on We Don't Have Time. Thanks for sharing the campaign with us.
Thank you very much. Very exciting. 2020, Emmanuel Macron. Next up, we have Maja Rosén, and she has no less than 3 campaigns that she will be talking about today. It's partly a flight-free 2020 for the climate. We have Climate Love for Peter Kalmus and noflyclimatesci.org. And we have Climate Love for Veckans Affärer for the Flight Challenge. With us now to tell us more is Maja. Welcome.
How would you react if everyone you knew suddenly told you that they had decided to give up flying until we've solved the climate crisis? That they had realized that if we don't do everything in our power to cut emissions now, there will be no planet left to explore in the future. Although we are in the middle of an acute climate crisis, most of us continue to live our lives as usual. That's not because we don't care. It's because we humans tend to act like everyone else. And the advantage of that is that if enough people take action, change can happen fast. My name is Maja Rosén, and I'm the founder and president of We Stay on the Ground. And we ran the campaign Flight Free 2020, in which people pledged to stay on the ground next year, provided that 100,000 people from their country promised to do the same thing. To refrain from flying is one of the most important things you can do as an individual to cut your emissions. But the biggest difference is in how this decision affects people around you. So if you sign up for this campaign, chances are big that your friends will do the same. And this also applies for the reversed scenario. If you keep flying, then so will your friends. So our campaign aims to break the current flight norm, and it's also a way to show both our politicians and each other that we are many who are willing to change our lifestyle to save the climate. And since I started this campaign, I've learned some important things. The first thing I learned is that most people aren't aware of just how huge the climate impact from flying really is. For example, the average Swede fly abroad once a year, equivalent to the distance between Stockholm and Spain. And only through that trip, you emit about 1 ton of carbon dioxide equivalents, which is the amount that we need to decrease our emissions to in total. And many Swedes fly much more than that. Thailand is a very popular destination. But if everyone in the world would go on a yearly trip to Thailand, the global total emissions would increase with 50%, when they instead need to be cut in half as soon as possible. And this example really illustrates just how unequally emissions are distributed over the world. About 80% of the world's population has never been on a plane, and only 3% fly on an annual basis. The second thing I've learned is that most people aren't aware that we are in an acute climate crisis. When I'm out campaigning and I speak to people in the streets, I usually start with asking them if they are worried about climate change. And then most people do say yes, but if I keep asking them what they are worried about, it's very clear that most people don't at all know just how serious this situation is. Many people still believe that climate change is something that will happen to someone else, somewhere else in a distant future. And the third thing that I've learned, and this is the good part, it is that it's possible to affect people. Many people are willing to fight for the climate if they realize how serious the situation is, but also the importance of their own actions. Therefore, we who have realized how serious the situation is, we need to be brave enough to talk about it. So don't assume that people around you don't care. Assume that everyone would do everything it takes to save the climate if they knew what is at stake. Running this campaign has made me realize that a change is possible, and I feel more hopeful than I have done in a long time. I am so glad that I went from just thinking that I should do something to actually doing it.
So I'd really like to encourage everyone who have an idea that you think may contribute to solve the climate crisis to just go for it. We started this campaign here in Sweden last year, but since it's been recognized by international media, it's now spread to several other countries. It's now run in the UK, Denmark, Belgium, and France, and several other countries are about to start a campaign as well. And everyone from all over the world can sign up already by going to our website, westayontheground.org. And it's the same idea in all countries. If you reach the goal of 100,000 pledges, you collectively take a flight-free year. And we want this campaign to be run in as many countries as possible. So if you're interested in helping us out, please contact us and we will help you to get started. Because nobody can save the climate on their own, but together we still have a chance. I would also like to give climate love to some very important initiatives. The first one is Peter Kalmo's I'll have to see this. No Fly Climate Sci. It's for scientists. They, in this initiative, they try to reduce flying as much as possible. And this is so important because for many universities and institutions, flying is the biggest emission post. And it's also very important that scientists take the lead and show people what needs to be done for them to understand how serious the situation is. So please agree to their campaign to show your support. And I'd also like to give climate love to the Swedish business magazine Veckans Affärer, because they have introduced a campaign where they challenge companies to cut their business trips by flying in half. And this is also a really good initiative because so many business trips or business flights could be avoided by technical solutions or by taking the train instead. So please agree to this campaign to send climate love to Veckans Affärer as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Maja. And speaking of Veckans Affärer, our next person up that's pitching a campaign is Åsa Uhlin. And the campaign is called Improve the Trains to Suit the Business Traveller. Åsa is the editor-in-chief at Veckans Affärer, and we will hear from her now.
One business traveller in 3 chooses to take the train whenever it's possible, according to a recent report. And concerns about the environment is a main reason for them to making that choice. Also, most of them take the time to work during the ride. For the stressed-out office worker, a business trip by train would be a sought-after relief, a chance to focus and get work done in nice, comfortable surroundings. Also, it would be a sustainable business case in every sense. For the train company, a chance to work efficiently would be worth paying for. How can we make the choice to take the train for the business traveller an even easier one? My idea is to improve the practical working conditions. Design a special part of the train as a working area with nice seats, good desks, good Wi-Fi, and even better coffee. Agree to this campaign if you want to hear SJ's response. And let us show SJ it's time to invest to further encourage business travel by train.
Thank you very much, Åsa. I'm also very happy to report we've broken over 1,000 actions in terms of our climate warning campaigns, and we still have so many to go. So that's exciting. Next up is Karl-Oskar Lavacek with a very exciting campaign. I'm very excited personally to hear more about this. Sustainable skies with lighter than air technology. Karl-Oskar is also the CEO at Ocean Sky, and he is right here on stage with us now. Welcome.
Hello, yes, we have some really exciting news today to share with you. Ocean Sky Cruises, our vision is to shape the future of aviation. We have a passion for innovative alternatives in aviation. We need to change the way we travel and transport. We need to rid our dependency on oil and fossil fuels. We need to protect our nature, and we need to stop destroying our fields, meadows, forests, and wilderness. Ocean Sky, I think you have the wrong presentation, the one on the desktop. Ocean Sky believes in a new way of travel and transport by lighter-than-air technology. Large-scale modern airships and hybrid airships filled with helium. Yes. Filled with helium, this will be our new aviation industry. And luxury travel will lead the way. And lead the way for many great developments to come for passenger transport and cargo transport. Our announcement today on Earth Day, the 22nd of April, is we are releasing tickets to fly as a passenger to the North Pole in the world's largest flying vehicle, 25% larger than the jumbo jet, the Airlander 10. It's an historic adventure, an historic endeavor to land for the first time in history an airship on the North Pole. We are releasing these tickets to fly in perfect comfort and quietness and be a passenger in the first season of 2023. A quiet journey in a 5-star hotel, an expedition to reach 90 degrees north. The lighter-than-air industry has showed tremendous development in the last 20 years. We want to show the potential of this technology and what it can mean for society and what it can mean for sustainable mobility and what it can mean for third world countries that does not have access to a road network or a rail network. The lighter-than-air technology footprint can be shown in a life cycle cost analysis, and it can easily be shown here on the right that it has by far the lowest footprint by all land-borne transport modes. And this is just the first generation of airship and hybrid aircraft. The future of lighter-than-air technology holds even greater potential. In the future, we will see an array of application for lighter-than-air technology. And we now urge the EU to direct funds into the development for lighter-than-air technology for an uptake in the civilian market and stop wasting our precious tax money for old fossil oil-dependent technology. Our team of aviation entrepreneurs, communication experts, and travel designers wish to leave you with this trailer.
Thank you very much. Is that not exciting? I don't know what is, and I'm also wondering how much is a ticket? Last campaign to launch here today is from a very special person. It's my colleague, Kajsa Kramming, and her campaign is called Swedish Prime Minister, Make Your Climate Promise. So Kajsa comes from Swedish climate-led group Föräldravrålet and also represents Our Kids Climate. Welcome, Kajsa.
The call from our children is clear. We need to call the climate crisis by its real name and act as if our lives depend on it, because they do. My name is Kajsa Kramming, and I'm one of the spokespeople for Föräldravrålet, a Swedish network of 26,000 parents mobilizing for more ambitious political action to tackle the climate crisis. We are also the initiators of a global network of parents called Our Kids Climate, a growing movement of parent-led groups fighting for our children's right to live to a livable climate. As a parent, I try to keep my child safe from harm. I make sure she uses a seatbelt when in a car. I try to make sure she eats healthily, and I teach her to look twice before crossing the street. But there is a threat that will affect children everywhere, some more than others, and that is the current breakdown of the climate system. As a parent, I feel it is my moral responsibility to make sure my child knows I did everything in my power to make sure that she and other children have a livable future. Because all children have a right to feel hopeful and excited about their lives and what's coming next. Children should not have to school strike, to sue their governments, or to grapple with climate anxiety. The climate crisis is our responsibility, not our children's. As parents and adults, we have tools available that we can use to make a difference. We can use the power of our wallets, of our votes, and of our voices in our workplaces and boardrooms. The time to do that is now. The climate crisis is already harming our children today through deadlier droughts, storms, sea level rise, flooding, and heat waves. And children are the most vulnerable to these disasters. They are also disproportionately impacted by the poverty, food insecurity, displacement, and psychological trauma that is caused by climate disasters. The effect of inaction is stark. More children will suffer from harm and even death if we don't act swiftly and decisively. Even though we know how to solve the climate crisis and we have all the technical solutions, the transitions of our societies are stalled. This is due to lack of will from political leaders, companies clinging to old business models, and too little public pressure to change the status quo. This is what is destroying our climate system on which life itself depends. The transition of our societies will in the long term mean a better future for all of us. It will mean cleaner air, thriving ecosystems, and healthier people. It is time to make sure our decision makers listen to the children and to us parents who are the uncompromising defenders of their lives and health. We need to create a safe, healthy, and fair world for all children today and tomorrow. A world where our own children can grow up and dream of their future. A future filled with hope and possibilities. As parents, we will take action in our own lives. We commit to shifting toward a more sustainable ways of living, to actively engaging our communities, and to act politically. But that is not enough. We demand that Stefan Löfven, the person ultimately responsible for Swedish politics, makes a climate promise to make sure that Swedish climate goals and policies are aligned with the Paris Agreement, the IPCC report, and the latest scientific demands. This means ensuring the compass is set to halving Sweden's emission faster than every 10 years and enacting bold climate action now to kickstart the transition towards a safe, healthy and fair world for all children. We want a dialogue with Prime Minister Stefan Löfven to ensure that our children's perspectives and rights are taken into account. What can you do to support the campaign? Please click I agree to support us. And once you've done that, find some parents around you that are worried about their children's futures and start your own Our Kids Climate campaign. The time to do that is right now.
Thank you very much, Kajsa. And that about wraps it up for us here at the Moon Stage. We've had 24 campaigns launched here today in total. Please make sure that you go in and support these campaigns immediately. If you don't want to support any of them, then you're either crazy or you're about to start your own campaign, so do that. And a big thanks to all the campaigners that have been here today, those with us online, those people in the room, everyone supporting. Give a big hand for all the campaigns. And now it's time to go over to Town Hall, to the main stage, and see the final act.